I want to bring on our speaker, which she has done something truly remarkable. And I want to share this with all of you. And that is that she has helped at least 3 people every single month for 70 months. Do you know what that means? The consistency in meeting new people, helping new people, getting them connected to a healthy solution every single month. Her consistency is remarkable. And she's connected them to either a challenge pack or another a la carte product. But either way, she has done that for 70 straight months. And I talked to her about something that I think coaches might find confusing is the difference between a connection and an invite. So we say invite, 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 and people start freaking out that you have to invite hundreds and thousands of people a day. That's not what this is about. She has been steady Eddie in making connections with people and then knowing when it's time to make that invite or that ask. So I wanted to put that out there because she's going to talk about that difference. She is a 6-star diamond coach. She has achieved the premier status, and she has also achieved elite 3 times. She's achieved 70 months in Success Club, as I mentioned before, consecutively. She's from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Ladies and gentlemen, Katie Crum. Hi there.
Hi, Sandy.
I hope I did that justice because 70 months is nothing to sneeze about.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So I'm going to get out of the way. Why don't you let people know who you are and how you became a Beachbody coach?
Awesome. Hey, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me this morning. I'm really excited to share with you, and congratulations to all those announcements. I was clapping behind the camera and celebrating everyone. But I wanted to give you guys just a backstory of me. Right now in my life, I am a wife and a mom to a wild and crazy 15-month-old boy. We are completely obsessed with our 2 golden doodles. But how I became connected with Beachbody and my story before that started with me being a college dropout, an anxiety and depression warrior, and also a daughter of a parent with traumatic health. On a whim, I decided to go to cosmetology school. And before I graduated, I knew that I hated it. And I also, by the time I graduated, had gained 60 pounds. So while my childhood was completely normal, the journey to adulthood started off rocky and was pretty dark for me. I was completely anxiety ridden, knowing that I was living a life that I had not expected for myself at all. I was 60 pounds overweight and just miserable and working a job that made me ill to walk into because I was not passionate about it. And to see the women that I worked with that were so passionate about what they were doing, I felt like I was missing something in my life that I needed to be passionate about. So 2013, in April 2013, I was at my lowest of lows, trying the craziest ways to lose weight. I was doing all quick fixes and yo-yoing, wraps and pills and extremely low calorie diets. And we know that that's just not sustainable. I would lose some and I would gain more back. And I vividly remember standing in my parents' kitchen. I was living with them at the time, still 21 years old. And I just remember asking God, what is happening with my life? Like, why is this the path that I'm on? How did this happen? And what is it that can change? Please, is there something magically that could just change and come into my life that could better not only my health, but also that I don't want to work this job anymore? So thinking back to those thoughts that I remember is crazy to think back to now, knowing where I am now. But I was randomly just scrolling Facebook one day and I came across a post of a girl that I only knew her because I grew up with her husband's family. And it was my coach now, my upline, Nikki Whiting. And she had shared that she had recent success with weight loss and inviting people to join her. I didn't know anything about Beachbody other than I heard of P90X before that. And I messaged her and along the line said something like, how do I do this? Where do I order? How do I sign up? And that's a dream customer, right? So I joined her challenge group with my sister, who also needed to lose weight. And I just took the money right out of my sister's bank account and said, hey, you're doing this with me. I didn't really give her a choice. And we dove in. I lost 20 pounds initially and felt really amazing. But back then, we didn't have the amazing nutrition programs that we have now. And it was a lot harder to figure out how to eat and how to do it properly. So I had hit a plateau and really didn't know where to go from there. And that's when Nikki recommended that I should have been adding Shakeology into my day, despite me not being a shake person. How many times do we hear that? But that was me. And she had helped me so much to that point that I trusted her, and I decided to go for it and dove in and just really absorb what was happening in the challenge group and just trust again what she was trying to help me, make those changes. But I didn't have a lot of money just to throw around at that time, because I was not really making that much money in the salon because I didn't love it and I wasn't trying to build a clientele. So the discount is really what appealed to me with the business, and I didn't really plan to actively build a business. But what happened is that I was just naturally sharing casually on social media my weight loss, and then people in person were also seeing me transform before their eyes, and they were asking. And after sending Nikki a handful of referrals, she just instilled the belief in me that what you're doing already is coaching. So why not just jump in and give it a try? So even though I was signed up for the discount, it was only a couple weeks later that I decided maybe why not me? If she can, why can't I? And I just was hesitant about it, but I knew that this was possibly going to be that thing that I was looking for that could give me the chance that I needed. And if I was going to do it, I was going to put my head down and go for it, because I refused again to fail in life. I got kicked out of college. I failed in my cosmetology job. And if I was going to do this, there was no option for me to fail again. So I was willing to learn despite not having social media following or any nutrition background or health, fitness, nutrition background at all. But I was willing to dive in and learn and just run with it.
That's an incredible story. So you had to push forward. So let's fast forward to the topic that you have today and talk about why.
So my skepticism with coaching before I started was that I in no way, shape, or form wanted to be a salesperson. My family's business for 25 years was the car business, and they always joked with me that I wouldn't have lasted one day on the lot, and that's the truth. So it was important to me to not ever come off salesy or icky, which is funny because looking back at some of my posts from when I first started, they definitely were, but it's just proof that everyone starts somewhere and that you have room to grow and learn, and that social media is always changing. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about the difference between the connection and the invite, and how I keep my process of signing new people up monthly very authentic, but also very, very simplified. But first, I want to tell you what I think the difference is. When coaches hear invite, like Sandy said, they think that that means they have to go and cold invite, copy and paste message 100 people or two or however many a day. And while that might work for some, and that's great, it's not what felt good for me. And it's not something that I can say I've never done before, but again, it's not what felt comfortable for me, and it's not what really I wanted to be doing and feeling like I was always just feeling icky and salesy and just throwing things in people's face without building that solid connection. So that's the beauty of this business too, is that we can build different ways and have similar goals and hit those goals, but do it in different styles. So I personally try to strengthen my social media and focus on that, which is Facebook and Instagram, with a heavy focus on Instagram stories and making connections that are really genuine with people that I hope to bring into my business. An invite to me, when it does happen, does not feel icky. It feels natural, because if people are liking my posts or commenting my posts or watching stories or replying to stories, just generating just simple conversation about a shared interest that we have, then I feel like that's them opening the door for the invite, and it doesn't feel wrong. Connecting with people and attracting them to you is simply being social on social media. That's what social media is engaging with people and following them and commenting their post and showing true interest in their life and what they're posting as well, and complimenting them and using Instagram stories features and things like that. I used to think that making a connection with somebody was me having to have this really in-depth relationship with every single person that I talk to and know every single thing about their life. When in reality, I have made social media besties from something as simple as laughing over a funny meme together. Growing your social media is something that is a whole other topic and has been covered so many times in the Beachbody Champions page. And I make sure that I take advantage of those, and my team does as well, because there's always something new to be learning and to be strengthening with your social media. So, but connecting with people is something that you can absolutely do right away as a new coach. You don't have to have some huge following. You don't have to have a certain amount of likes on your post. You can be a genuine person that just truly wants to help others make that positive change that you've made.
You can just go straight through.
Okay. All right. Let me take a sip of my water.
You're doing great.
All right. So I'm going to be sharing my screen with you guys. Let me do that. All right. So the first step that I take in making those connections and simplifying my process to bring new people on is by creating a sense of FOMO on social media and always having something publicly to invite to. So FOMO, for those of you that don't know, is fear of missing out. And that's what I consistently try to do via my Instagram stories. I create intrigue about what I do. I want people to know that obviously I am doing these programs and using these products and that I'm getting results, but also that there's a whole community of mine that are too. People are obviously intrigued by different things in the business, but I think what a lot of the time that sticks out to people is the community. And that's what I love so much about this job, is the community that we have. And even though a lot of adults wouldn't admit that, I think that's something that people lack in their life. So I'm constantly showing behind the scenes things in my stories from my challenge group, whether that be somebody's progress with their permission. So you can see that on here, showing some of my challengers' progress pictures, and showing maybe even just an awesome recipe, but only showing half of it, or the meal plan that I'm going to be sharing for the month in my challenge group. And basically just giving people the sense of, hey, this is what I do as a coach, but in a way that says you have to join me to get all of the goods. So by posting these things, I'm essentially inviting others publicly to join me every single day without the actual ask yet. So having a challenge group or a sneak peek into coaching is at all times ensures that you always have something to be inviting to and you don't lapse in your posting. While I know that they are both so important, I only post call to actions on my main feed maybe once a week, but invites on stories like this almost every single day. And the difference between the two is just really that people on social media right now are watching stories more than they are reading posts on the feed. The stories that they're watching are fun and interactive and engaging, and that's just how social media has taken a turn right now. It might not always be like that, but it's kind of what it is right now. The stories that I post for call to actions range from anything as elaborate, and when I say elaborate, I mean using an app like something called Unfold, which is a really easy app to use that makes your stories look professional and simple, to as simple as this one on the right that you see that says June, taking the first step in their health journey with me, with a poll that's asking them to either pick me or need more details. And I always leave the poll choices to be two positives from them to choose from. And sometimes only a few people click it, sometimes a lot do. And that's why I invite frequently, because you never know who is going to read something of yours at the exact moment that they really, really needed to. And then step 2 for me is the private invite combo. The next step, which is the actual invite. So the places that I invite from are those that I have made connections with, that have either engaged in a story feature, commented a post, liked a post, a connecting convo happening maybe in my inbox that we've been having, or the occasional story watcher I notice that's always watching. I try to keep my conversations short, sweet, and to the point and not overcomplicate it. And really, it's just that I found that just like I know my time is so precious, so is the time of the person that I'm talking to. And I think people actually really, really appreciate simple conversation and making sure that it's info that is useful and beneficial for them to know how to get started and what this is, but not word vomiting all over them. When I say what I say changes from person to person depending on what they're interested in. So this is obviously just one example of a conversation that I have been using recently as kind of a guideline. And 9 times out of 10, I do lead with talking about their nutrition because I know for me personally, results are made in the kitchen. And I want them to know upfront that that is what's important to me. And hopefully that can help them too. So a simple tool I've used a lot in the last couple of months in the bottom left-hand side is that little graphic that is just asking, do you sound more like A or B? And that's just giving characteristics of UPF and 2B and asking which sounds more like them. When they let me know, you can see I just gave a quick testimonial of myself, and then I send 2 videos from the online office, from the training tools tab in our office. And they're so useful to use and beneficial if you're not using them yet. You can download them and save them to your phone so it looks like it's an actual video sent from your phone and not a link that they have to click on. And it's just giving quick info for them to see about the program. And then if they're interested in seeing the options, I always give a breakdown of what's included and then graphics, keeping it simple where they can see what the options are to get started. And you can always make a collage of graphics showing anything, whether that be packs, base kits, products in the Coach Online office, if you don't already have graphics that you're using. Another tool that I frequently use as well is Google Forms. Besides one that's always in my bio about coaching, I usually just create one around a new product launch. So I have all their info gathered into one place if they're interested in starting once it launches. All right, I'm gonna unshare my screen.
I'm going to stop you for a second because you are doing so well. These examples are really good. And for people who are watching on a phone, they might be a little tiny, but what you were saying about it was so great because you're not really bombarding people with an ask or an invite, but you're sneak peeking, you're showing people what you do. And so it just creates that intrigue. It creates the FOMO. I want to do what she's doing, which is exactly what happened. It's the timing. You never know when someone is going to read your post and or watch your story and be intrigued by what you do and ask more about it. So I think that you're bringing this to light for many people. I'm watching on Facebook as people are going, yes, yes, yes. And I do want to share with everybody on this on the wake up call is that this is not an actual training call. This is a shared best practice call. I'm talking to Katie because she spent 70 months helping new people every single month. And she has got it down. The understanding of the connection is made weeks, months before an actual sign up is made. But that's okay because she's asking and inviting once a week, I think you said, where you actually do an ask.
Right.
Will you go back and say that about that once a week?
So just the difference of something on your live feed on Instagram or Facebook. So if it's inviting to a glance into coaching group or my challenge group, just a post in general like that, I usually do maybe once a week, but having the frequency of being able to invite on stories is just so much easier to be able to do every single day, even if it's just so simple as sharing, that before and after with a poll or something. That to me is definitely an invite. So while you can see at the end of my my invite there, I presented the options for getting started and the different packs that were available. And while I do usually lead with challenge packs, and they're great for customers because it's helping them get started with a lot of tools that they need and a huge discount for them. I want you guys to know that it's not the end all for getting somebody started for me. So I just encourage them to get started on something if that's not it for them. If it's not in the cards, or if they don't want to start a bunch of changes at one time. And that can be getting them just on BOD, or just a nutrition program, or even a tub of Energize. That way you can plug them into your community, and they're seeing other people do other things. They're seeing other girls or guys getting results, and maybe down the road they commit to something else, and that's fine and that's great. I have a customer that lost almost 40 pounds using To Be Mindset before she ever pressed play on a Beachbody workout, and now she just recently completed Transform 20. And do I have people that ghost me or never finish their share cart? Of course, all the time. But I know that no is never a no, like Sandy said, and that if I just keep showing up for my business monthly, when the time is right for them, then that's great. It'll be, timing is everything for everyone, and that I'll always be here. And either when I follow up with them, or maybe I say something that really just resonates with them, then that will be the time that they commit to getting started with me. So step 3 is then just getting them signed up and getting ready for results. So I use ShareCart not only because it is so simple, but it's an easier way to then connect people with more of our products and helping them get started in a way that they can be getting the best results possible, because that's what we're trying to do, right? So in other businesses, it might be seen as upselling, which I feel about that word, but I really loved the term that my friend Nikki Johnson shared with me, which is up sharing. Up sharing is basically just sharing a product that I love and that I use and that it's working for me and why. So when I send somebody their cart with whatever they're getting signed up with, I'll just add something onto it. And I'll just say something as simple as, hey, just wanted to let you know, I added a tub of Energize onto your cart. That's the yellow pre-workout you see me drinking every morning. It helps me push through my workouts, but because of how clean the ingredients are, it doesn't make me crash, or it doesn't make me feel crazy. You can remove it from your cart. I just wanted to share it with you. And that's just a simple way, and I feel comfortable doing that because to this point, they've trusted me enough to get them started, and now I'm just sharing things that I love. So once they sign up, I plug them immediately into my challenge group. And I made the decision last year, I believe, to switch to just one ongoing community challenge group that I only close down and reopen 2 to 3 times a year, maybe, just depending on when I feel like it needs an energy reboot. But this has worked better for me because instead of having new groups that start and stop each month, have a specific start date and end date, I feel like I have somewhere that I can add people into any time of the month. It doesn't matter what day of the month it is. So they never feel behind, or that they've missed something, or that they're comparing their chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20, because it's known that this is a community and there's people in here that have been with me for years and days, and it doesn't matter, and that you can succeed as well. And let's get you plugged in and get started. So my Facebook group has a units section that I direct them towards once they get in there. And that just has things like how to navigate BOD, how to set goals for themselves, water intake, self-care, personal development recommendations, even just like pump up music recommendations, how to battle cravings, explaining different Beachbody products, stuff like that. So we change up the theme of our daily posts and our meal plans every single month to keep it fresh and exciting. But the information, again, can pertain to whether they've been with me for years or days. Of course, my goal is to bring in new people every month. That's what I do and I set out to do. But I want people to get results. I want them to love our products, to try new workouts, to try new supplements, and to get the best results possible. And I think that's why this process helps me, because it's really just a compound effect of the basics. You and a couple people are doing a program, you get results, you make people wonder, why not them? You create that sense of FOMO on social media. You inspire them some way, you invite them, they join you, and then it's just a new process again of new people getting results, and then you can start the process over of sharing again. And really, I just have never truly felt like I've ever feared running out of people to invite, because as long as I am showing up and treating my business or my social media like a business, then I know that I will have somebody new to ask every single month.
That is such a great way to look at it too, because you are bringing in new people each month without really trying. I mean, it sounds so effortless what you're doing. And the fact that you've been consistent for 70 months shows that you enjoy what you do. So, last question about personal fulfillment that this role of coaching has brought to you. Can you share with everyone the rewards it has brought you?
Absolutely. Physically, obviously, I have lost 60 pounds, or I lost my first journey with Beachbody, 60 pounds, and my sister and I together 120 combined. And then I maintained that for a while, got pregnant, gained 60 back. That mentally was very tough, but knew that I had the tools again to be able to do it again. And I just recently got back down 60 pounds again. So I'm so grateful for that. But more importantly, it's the things that I'm grateful for that are the friendships that I've made, the strengthened relationships in my life that this job has given me, and the positive community again is just something that I think is so powerful. And people have so many things in their lives that drain them and that are stressful, and this is really an outlet for people to just be uplifted and so positive, and just really just being the best version of themselves that they can be. And I'm just so grateful that I came across this and was able to have that in my life. And income disclaimer that you have to work to get results, but really this has changed our lives financially as well. I was able to leave a job that I was not passionate about. And back then I didn't know, when people were saying things like short-term sacrifice for long-term gain, I didn't get it. I didn't know what that meant. But again, I was willing to learn and listen to the mentors that were teaching me. I just put my head down and I worked hard, and I did make sacrifices and still do now. But being home with my 15-month-old, now I get it. And now I appreciate it. And I understand why people say that. And I know that working this job full time isn't everyone's goal, and that's totally fine. But for me, this wasn't my second chance. This was my third chance to do something. This was my third chance to do something that I could be proud of and that I could make my family proud of. And I know that they are, because they tell me all the time. And that's really just means so much to me. And just hearing people say, you changed my life, or I could not have done this without you. Like, I just gave myself goosebumps even saying that. That is the best feeling in the world. And without Beachbody, I don't know what platform I could have done that on. So if you think that no one is watching, they are. And I was that person on the other side of the phone or the computer that came across a post. And really, it scares me to think about where I would be today in my life if I hadn't read a single Facebook post. So make the post, because somebody needs to hear it, and give them that second, third, fourth, fifth chance, whatever it is, to make the rest of their life really the best of their life.
Great message. Thank you so much. I keep thinking about what coaching is, or even what this wake up call represents, is possibility. Because really, you were in a corner. I mean, you had to do something, and you had to make a change. So I thank you so much for sharing your story and sharing the tips and all your visuals. You did a great job today, and thank you.
Thanks, Andy.
And coaches, I feel like, I don't know if any of you have played apples to apples, but you try to match, a card with another card. And every time I listen to coaches, I have this stack of affirmation cards, and I look at the card that best represents what they're talking about. And this one, you have the power to change everything, reminds me so much of Katie, because she had the power. She had it all along. All she needed to do was exercise it and post and share and let people into her life. And she did it. And it looks effortless, but it's not. She did the work, but she was a steady Eddie and consistent. And 70 months in Success Club is pretty incredible. So if you're just joining Beachbody, it's possible. Thanks, everybody. See you next week. Bye-bye.